Mobile. A new class.
Wow.
Heaps of new items.
Nice.
At least 7 new or reworked systems.
Whoa.
And at least 4 new dungeons, including one that's harder than anything in the game currently.
Wow.
As well as heaps of quality of life and bug fixes, which I'll explain all in this video. Hello. So it's been a while since I've talked about Darza. Some people probably thought I dropped it entirely. After all, I only uploaded one video of it after its re-release, and it seemed like I stopped streaming it altogether. Okay, let me explain myself. So I was planning to make more videos for Darza. In fact, there was at least one ready to upload, which was highlights from the release of the game, but it took a while to make since I was addicted to Darza at the time. In the video, it showed how Darza had over 1,000 players online at the same time. This is full. Dominion portal is full. Dominion portal is full. Dominion portal is full. They're all full. What the f? But by the time I was going to upload it, which was like 2 or 3 months later, that number dropped down to around 100 players average. So at that point it felt really weird to upload, especially since I was being late tooth again. I will put the full video along with some other videos on my Patreon channel. Yes, that's right, I'm bringing my Patreon back, baby. It's the only way that I won't starve to death while making videos about Realm and similar games. So I really appreciate people like MC Draft and Eraser who've helped me so long along the way while I've been a slow, lazy, and a bad content idiot. As well as that, I was also planning to make a PPE video for Darza, but I had the most cringe death imaginable and I lost all motivation to play or upload altogether. Take a look at this. Ladies and gents, watch and learn. No, that was not scripted. So I didn't play the game again for a while, and the devs didn't touch it for a while either. There seemed to be a long silence from the people behind the game, and during this time the player count started reducing rapidly, to the point now where the game is lucky to have 50 people at a time. So what happened? Well, before the silence, the devs were releasing small updates here and there, but became discouraged with the declining player count, and having to deal with Realm players is never a fun time. Also, probably the most unfortunate thing to happen is that the mobile version of the game got rejected from the App Store twice over small BS apparently, according to the devs, and they actually had no issue with it prior when they uploaded it to the App Store for closed testing. I feel like Darza would have been significantly more popular because traditionally the Darza community has been built on the mobile side of things instead of it being a PC game, and there's no competition over there in regards to Realm likes, so that was a massive hit to the game's potential and the devs' motivation. So they took a few months break, but then started grinding really hard on this future update, and that was since the middle of the year. They're planning to release a massive update instead of smaller ones like they did prior, because those weren't having enough of an effect on the sliding player count. I can't be mad at Darza devs for their progress on the game so far. They literally only have one person that codes the systems for the game, a single one, and we don't know exactly how many people are working on Realm of the Mad God, but Deca does have hundreds of employees, and they did a fundraiser for the port of their game. In comparison, the Darza dev ported their client twice, and that was for free, just out of love, and make that 3 times if you include the phone port, all in a smaller time span. If anything, I'm actually impressed with the Darza devs. I just really want a game to succeed from Realm, kind of like Path of Exile succeeded from Diablo 3, for example. Hopefully this video demonstrates my love and faith that I have for the game and the devs. But yeah, let's get into it. I saw some criticism saying that this is the same BS as Rotamaga, where free-to-play players are extremely restricted and pretty much have to spend money to not feel that way, and that's simply not the truth. Darza has always been new player friendly, at least in comparison to... New accounts start with 2 character slots and 2 vault slots, and there's no crazy divine pets that give whales a massive advantage. Also, you can get up to $88 of the currency you can get by paying for free through challenges. On top of this, there's a new NPC being added in the tavern called Seaman, and it's going to give daily quests for even more gold. Devs are going into war against potential key or Discord metas that can prop up. They saw the damage that it did to Realm of the Mad God, where half of people just do bizarre play player experiences or waited Nexus for keys, and that took away from the classic experience that made the game so fun. Now I feel like keys themselves aren't an issue. The issue is making them by far the most efficient way to play the game. Hyper cringe. This is why they're making loot fountains not appear in keyed dungeons, which is a mechanic that boosts everyone's drop rates instead of loot potions for a small cost within a set dungeon. Also, bosses will have a chance to drop keys for their respective dungeons. The tutorial is getting a massive revamp and somehow involves dungeons. I don't know man, that's all they said about it, but I'm really keen to see what they've done with it. Also, maxing can be tough, especially for beginners. That's why they're adding gem fragments from the existing and new newbie dungeons that can be combined into a full gem. And for the currency that you do gain from death called glory, they're adding way more uses for it. Currently, you can buy consumables, pets, and insanely strong rings that includes one that can revive you, but they're going to make it that you're going to be able to improve your existing items with glory and also be able to earn more glory if you're willing to play more risky. More on those two things later. This is going to replace the current challenge system I was talking about, where you can earn up to $88 of the game's paid currency through simple missions. They wanted to make this more interesting and fully rewrote the system so that they can add and remove potentially infinite character-specific goals to work towards, and some of them are going to be very long-term progression. Just to give you a bit of an example, these can include boss kill count requirements, maxing certain stats, a number of rare items you need to loot, and crafting special items, just to give some examples. They're also adding a new shield that looks fucking sexy. Shields are like stars from Realm that advance with the amount of challenges or attainments you have completed. Hopefully with those goals they can add some super cool ones in the future, like maybe attainments for soloing dungeons, doing dungeons damageless, or within a certain time. There is going to be at least 4 new dungeons, with at least one dungeon that is harder than anything in the game currently, and also a few existing dungeon reworks and tweaks. First, let's get into the endgame dungeon that's coming. It's a dungeon that the devs have been working on for over 2 years called Colosseum of the Colossus. Here's what a dev said in the updates channel in their Discord. Entering the streets of Rome, you awaken the Colossus who chases you to the Colosseum for the fight of your life. It will be like no other dungeon you've been in before. Will you make it to the Colosseum? To gain access to the dungeon, you must enrage Bobina, causing her to spawn in the mountains to protect her kin. From this amazing reading I did, you can expect that the dungeon will be like thin streets that you get chased down by the Colossus, whatever the hell that is, and ends at a Colosseum where you fight the big boss, or maybe multiple enemies. Not sure how it's going to work beyond that, especially the chase part. And to get to this dungeon, it will most likely be an event separate to the ones that spawn on the edges, and it's going to be an event boss called Bobina who drops the portal. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but it will have to be activated somehow. So when the update hits, finding this unknown spawn method could be really fun. As far as the other dungeons go, who knows? They haven't said much about them other than there being more beginner dungeons, because there's only one in the game right now called the Mushroom Forest, but that's getting a facelift as well. To be honest, I thought 4 dungeons was a bit low for the amount of time that's passed. I mean, it is the same amount that Realm has released in the same time period, though Darza said they want to make sure every future dungeon is top quality and feels unique, and if they wanted to, they could poop out tens of mediocre dungeons. Other dungeons that are getting changed include Ancient Ruins, which is getting a second alternative boss called Tupac. The dungeon is also getting its safe spots polished out to prevent leeching and cheesing bosses. And Darza is also getting changes as well, as a resprite. Hopefully the part before Darza is getting changed as well, because that one is insanely dated. Also, Asura Shrine is getting teleports after each boss activates, so the rusher or clearers can get back to the boss room conveniently. Also, we know so far that in the Dominion, as far as events go, at least the Great Eagle is getting reworked. Who knows if there's going to be more, hopefully. The back-end dev made heaps of new tools so that other devs can make more interesting projectile patterns for bosses and players' items in the upcoming update and moving forward. Also, this was in a dev screenshot. Is this a new village? I don't know man, but it could be more NPCs or something. Now, what I'm going to explain to you right now has me super duper hyped, because it was similar to one of the top 3 best Realm of the Mad God updates in my opinion, and that is when they reworked Fame to make Fame trains not the best method to get XP XP, but instead doing endgame dungeons. Generally, the more risk you take on, the more you earn. If we pretend that the OT dungeon mod meta doesn't exist. Darza will have something similar with the Glory rework, where the harder dungeons will give more fame, and hopefully that will kill the fame train meta in Darza as well. And yeah, as I mentioned, there's going to be more ways to spend Glory in extremely hype ways. I'll talk about that later, really soon, I promise. Okay guys, this makes me wet when I think about it, but they're going to add a lighting system, a day and night cycle, as well as other visual effects like bloom. Look how damn sexy this looks. There's going to be natural lighting from, for example, like lights, lamps, lava. I saw a gif of a weapon lighting up the environment, and some other stuff. It also works on specific pixels. And with the day and night cycle, they could make it in future that instances appear only in day and night, or some other cool stuff change. There's also going to be lava bloom, and they can do even more cool stuff in the future with this. Like for example, a dev showcased in one of his streams this visual for a potential future underwater dungeon. The underwater dungeon could be coming in this update, I don't know man. Also, it looks like there's going to be increased customization, like for example there's animated hats, there's going to be more cool animated effects that float around your character. Geez, this guy's on fire, I hope he's okay. And they're adding emotes to the game. The update is going to have countless quality of life and bug fixes. Let's list some. A notification will show up when you gain essence from a boss. Chat is going to get a rework so you can finally be able to do things like scroll up. New minimap maybe question mark? There's going to be a lot of resprites. Like for example Darza's getting a resprite. Jokes, this is just a troll one of the artists made. I'm not sure how it would actually look in game. Gem's also got a resprite. They're looking really cool and different now. For the people that play extremely zoomed out, so what everyone should be doing, the devs are going to make it that objects and tiles don't pop in and out, as you can see on the screen now, and that's just to name a few. Everyone loves items. It's why everyone plays these kind of games. Whether it's Borderlands, RuneScape, Realm of the Bad God, Path of Sexile, Darza's is about to get more loot to get, plus ways to make them more varied and to improve the ones you have. Firstly, you can expect more whites and skins to come from existing dungeons. Secondly, you can expect heaps more whites and skins to come from new dungeons coming out with this update. Like for example, with the latest dungeon that got added, Butterfly Woods, that added 3 new ones to the game. And thirdly, there might be even more whites and rare items coming from events, like the new one that was called Bubana, or existing ones as well. Now here's the real juicy part. With the update, most equipment pieces will drop with a prefixed or modifier attached to them, which adds or subtracts damage or certain stats, like maybe range or projectile speed from the item, and because of the results of a poll they held in their Discord, this will most likely apply to all existing items as well. There will be 5 tiers of these modifiers. 3 being positive, 2 being negative, and the highest being the rarest by a good margin. These will probably range between like plus 15% increases in set stats and minus 10% decreases. Okay, this is you right now. Seb, I farmed 100 whites, and now they're all going to be shit because of the modifiers? This is why I hate you. Okay, that's a very fair reaction, but you don't have to worry because you'll actually be able to reroll modifiers with your glory, which is the currency you earn on death. It will be expensive apparently, especially for rarer items like whites and relics. There will also be unique modifiers added in later updates after this one that don't play by the same rules and are more unique than just the minus or addition of stats. Also, tooltips with items are getting fixed with this update. There was an issue with a lot of them where their range wouldn't show properly if their bullets travelled at a different speed, and now they also show what classes they can be used on, as well as if they pierce. Also, to the system that's similar to the Forge in Realm of the Mad God, they're going to make it that all existing whites in the game will be obtainable, so you'll be able to find the other boss souls, except for the brand new whites that are coming with the update. Oh my god, there's a new class coming. Now firstly, let me get this out of the way. There's going to be some balancing around classes, like for example, Worm is getting its well-deserved nerf, where it's losing 50% of its HP regen from its whip. Now, for the new class, it's pretty cool, but not my thing, but still pretty cool, because it's mostly a support class instead of a sweaty elitist solo class. It's called the Bishop, and it's an element robe class that uses a crossier as its an ability. I think that's how it's pronounced. What it does, it's a channeled ability that increases ally mana regen within a set radius of the user, depending on the ability, and that's at the cost of the Bishop's mana. In addition to the channel cost, the crossier also gives the Bishop slow and armored. Should be cool, man. I will still give it a go on stream, so make sure to follow me at twitch.tv/sebtooth_, or link will be below. Okay, I didn't know where to put this, so let's put this here. So item balancing and enemy balance can be really tough, right? Especially around status effects. You and the enemy can inflict. So like for example, like slow, paralyzed, healing. Balancing this is especially a problem with a current relic called the Crimson Dagger, or something, which inflicts weaken for 0.15 seconds, or something like that, so that if you're hitting an enemy consistently, it makes the enemy deal 50% less damage. Now we can agree that's a bit too strong. Even though this item is super rare, something the devs are bringing to the next update is a system which gives status effects tiers, depending on how strong the item is or the enemy is. Now there's 5 tiers depending on what difficulty of content you're versing or how rare your item is. So like for example, with the dagger, I know it's really rare, but it's really easy to apply, and weaken is such a strong mechanic, so I think they should make it inflict like a tier 1 weaken, giving enemies 5 or 10% damage reduction. Now as far as enemies go, they said that the current endgame will have tier 3 status effects, but it can still go up to the 5th tier, so that gives you an idea of how hard endgame dungeons can become in Darza. There's also going to be status stacking, so you might be running with a planned group where you all have the dagger, and you might be able to get that tier 5 weaken on the enemy, inflicting a minus 50% damage reduction. Just for example, I'm not sure how it's exactly going to work. And they're most definitely going to add more buffs and status effects in the future. Like for example, in this dev's live stream, they were showing how they made a gigantism, is that how you say it? A debuff, where the enemies make you grow and makes your hitboxes larger. I mentioned everything I know that is most likely coming with the next update, but here I'm going to list off some super interesting things that the devs said they are going to work on, but in updates after the next coming one. Firstly, Darza might get interesting guild systems. It would be so sad if Darza gets a guild update before Realm, because in the past 10 years or so, ever since the game was created almost, Realm of the Mad God has only gotten Gil as a guild update, which is like the NPC that sits in the guild hall. Here's what one of the co-leads said about the future guild update in one of his live streams.
We have plans for guilds. In the next update, it'll have a lot of changes, because we plan on adding something with it. I don't want to give spoilers.
That's something. Right now, Darza's Dominion only has one map. You probably couldn't tell because it's so enormous, but they do want to add more and potentially increase their size even more. Fishing is confirmed for the future, and maybe even more.
Have I played on my phone? I don't want to use my best characters on my phone. Some people are really good at mobile, but I'm not one of those people. But if I can do something low stress on my phone, then just to pass time when I'm out, then that would be perfect. Also, we had ideas for stuff to do in the game that's not dangerous. For example, fishing. I don't know if I posted the fishing spread a while ago, but that is a thing, going to the Dominion and fishing. Also, of course, it could be in the danger zones as well, to get some certain fishes that are, I don't know, used for crafting. But yeah, stuff like fishing, I don't know about maybe mining. I want to have stuff that you can do to craft like consumables and stuff, like the magic dust or the stat dust you use by crafting 2 gems, so stuff like that, but like with materials you gather.
They might add the ability to get like soulbound damage, but instead by fulfilling a non-damage role, like healing others with healing classes, like Apothecary.
We thought about how we can promote soulbound in other ways. For example, if you're like an Apothecary, maybe you can get participation points for healing players, stuff like that. So playing your role of your class.
Now, I cannot even imagine this, but PvP is a serious consideration for the future. The only thing stopping them apparently is mobile players having a disadvantage through mobile tick rate limitations, but they said the most that this would limit them is by splitting the PvP for PC and phone.
Player PvP? Alright. I definitely have the logic behind PvP like written down somewhere. Problem would be for mobile players, the tick rate for PvP to be at least fair has to be increased dramatically for player movement so it can be more accurate. And for mobile players that play on service, that means that they're going to be very laggy looking, I suppose. If there's nothing to gain from it, then sure, we can add it, like a gimmick or for fun. But if there's like an actual point, like ranks and stuff, then we can't do that. It would just be unfair for mobile players.
I honestly can't imagine 1v1 PvP being a fun time, but I could imagine guild vs guild being pretty cool. Here's what Lynx said about 2 of the updates that I would love to see most of the game, other than skilling.
PvE mode, PvE mode. We don't really have plans for that at the moment, but if it's something people want, then sure, I suppose we're gonna think of something similar. A collection log? I mean, we had the idea of having a bestiary type thing in this game, like how Terraria does it. And then we can also have an item log as well. Oh, like an official white bag count. Oh, white bag log.
Yes, please. Also, the vault section and the character select area is getting an overhaul. They want to add a single UI for the bank. To be honest, I really love the OG Realm of the Mad God vault. It feels so much more real and tangible. You know what I mean? When you enter your vault, you see so many different chests of items sprawled across your screen. And just before the end, before the vault got changed, players had the ability to be able to see what's in the vault without having to stand on it by holding control, revealing all items inside each vault. So it wasn't even annoying. But maybe now it would be in Realm because of all the spammy items that you get like marks, and how they significantly increased white drop rates, so you'll probably get more items than previous eras in Realm. Who knows, man, maybe I'm a boomer. So when is the update coming? The devs did say that the update would most likely come out before the end of the year, but it seems like their scope increased, which I'm not complaining about because it seems like there's so many extra additions that wouldn't have made it into the game, or this update, like for example the lighting system. But yeah, definitely soon, TM. Be patient, guys! It will be worth it, trust me. There's definitely going to be heaps of things that I missed in the update, and maybe some surprises. Probably some surprises. Really excited to see what's to come. You know for sure that I'll be streaming the update live on my stream, so make sure to follow. I'm doing a charity stream on the 10th. It will be a marathon, depending on how much we raise, is how long the stream will go for. I only did one previous charity stream, and somehow we hit over $7,000. There's no way we'll beat it again, but we'll see what happens. I'll make sure to be uploading multiple YouTube videos this time about the game as well, so make sure to subscribe. Make sure to join the Darza Discord for future news if you're interested. It's just discord.gg/Darza, or I'll have the invite link in the description down below. Might as well join my Discord as well while you're down there. I love Kyle, Tip, Lynx, and Pocket so much. Appreciate your efforts so far and in the future. I love the Darza community and my Twitch, YouTube, and Discord community. You guys are the greatest for real. But yeah, that's all from me. I'll catch you next time. Peace.